Hello, this is Code with Ebube, and of course, I am Ebube. And today we're going to be looking at Python as a programming language, and we'll be setting up the development environment for this course. So, this is for someone out there who has no knowledge of Python programming whatsoever. Luckily, this is your first step to understanding what programming with Python is and how you can get started. So, when we talk about Python, you can see the big Python on the screen. We're not referring to a snake, even though the icon is, referring to Python, the snake. But we're talking about a programming language that we use to give command to the computer to build computer programs. Now, I'm very sure that if you are watching this video, you already know a little bit about programming languages. Maybe you're trying to figure out if you should start with Python as your first programming language, or if you really need it at all. Um, the, the the big question usually, I mean, right now is learning Python programming still worth it in 2024? And to me, the answer to that question is yes, because many of the emerging technologies we are seeing today, many of all the advances, AI, robotics, all the advances, technological advancements we are seeing can be done with Python. Python literally is that versatile and powerful program that if you learn, you can go as wide as possible beyond just being a web developer. So Python is used in data analysis, robotics, AI, even web dev, but we are going way beyond web dev now. So learning Python would allow you to go as far as you want to go and allow you to have creative flexibility when it comes to what you can build. Now, does it mean that Python is the only thing that can do this? No, because we have JavaScript. JavaScript is also a powerful language in its own. But the reason we go for Python oftentimes is that it's easier to learn. There's a huge community around Python. Okay, let me speak on these facts one by one. So when we say Python is easy to learn, personally, this is from a personal experience. It could be different for other people, right? It took me 3 years to study JavaScript, and I fully didn't understand what I was doing. And this is a personal confession. Okay, no, it wasn't 3 years. Sorry to correct that. 2 years, because the last year was when I started learning Python. So I was learning JavaScript for 2 years, straight from HTML and CSS, and I didn't understand what I was doing. But in 1 month, I finished Angela Yu's 100 Days of Python Programming from the beginning. I think the entire beginning curriculum, I finished it in 1 month, and that was when I had the confidence to call myself a programmer, because before then I just felt I was always copying code, looking for other people's source code. But with Python, I personally sat down to think. It allowed me to think about solutions and solve problems with programming. Now, the next reason to choose Python language is that there's a huge community around it. A lot of advancements are built around Python. And right now we have the version 3, and there's still more advancement going on and on and on and on, to within the programming language circle. So I think with this sort of covers why in 2024 you shouldn't be scared of embracing Python programming. At the same time, you should be eager to use Python programming, because with Python language as your programming language of choice, you have so many um, directions to go. You can do mobile development with Python, you can do game development, augmented reality, although that's majorly with C Sharp anyway. On this course, I'll be doing a lot of advanced programming. So we'll all discover the limitations of both Python, with other languages. So to set up Python, how do you begin? So the first thing to do is to separate your understanding of the versions of Python. Now, if you are a new developer, you have no idea of version 2, Python version 2 at all. Like you've not used it before, you don't know what it is, you don't know how it is. Leave it. It's the old version of Python programming because it was used before in the past. A lot of uh, programming that was done in the early days was done with Python too. I'm not going to go into the history of Python because you can easily look it up online, and that's like a whole video section. We're here to get started. This video is practical, so I would encourage you to check W3 School. Um, I would also encourage you to check Python. I will leave it in the chat in the video description. I will list a lot of resources I feel if you want to know more in details beyond what this video is offering about the language. You have to check it out so that you can learn more. But how do we install Python programming? So as I was saying, if this is your first time learning Python or installing Python, you're going straight for version 3 because that is what is available. So this is the python.org website. You go to python.org/downloads and you see the latest version. Of course, they've mentioned that Python 3.12.4 is the latest version, and of course, they are already preparing version 3.13. Yay! So with this, you download it. I can't download this. Of course, I can, but I don't want to download it because I already have Python installed. But you click this and you download the latest version. Now, after downloading it, the next thing you have to do is to install the version you've downloaded. To install the version you've downloaded, you click the folder and follow the instructions. Um, I will take my time to do a step by step of what I believe you would see along the line. But all these are online. You can check other videos here on YouTube on how to download Python programming, Python language, sorry for that. And then you catch up on your downloads. I think you can even get more information here because, of course, this is the documentation. And if you check around, you'd see, yeah, so this is the documentation. You can as well go to the beginner's guide and learn more. They have more resources for you. Now, the next thing to do after installing is to verify that your install was successful. And to do that, you open your command prompt. You go to your command prompt, you type, because what you want to do here now is to assess and see what version of Python you've installed. Now, if you downloaded the 3.12 version, what you're supposed to have is the 3.12 version. So you type Python, and as you can see, I am using the 3.11.4 version. So I believe yours should be 3.12.4. So that should be yours here. So with that, you have done the download successfully. So that is how you check the version you have. So to reiterate what I did, I typed Python, then space, hyphen version, and then I pressed enter. That is how to verify the version of Python you have on your system. Now, the next thing you want to do as a developer is to figure out a way to integrate your programming with with your VS Code. So, every developer actually has VS Code or should have VS Code because it's like the easiest IDE you have. So as I said, I already have these things. I've been using it for a while. So I've already installed it here on VS Code. But take your time to look at other videos and see how you can install it on your end. Now, what happens when we download the file is you should see a folder. If you go to your apps, sorry, if you go to more, sorry, I'm pressing the wrong thing. So what happens when you download Python is that if you go to your apps, you'd see a folder Python. Now you should have these four components. This is the development environment for Python that comes with the package. This is the manual documentation, and this is the commands prompt line for Python. So with that, you've installed Python. Now, there are so many other, apart from VS Code, because the next big question is, so apart of from VS Code, what else? We have PyCharm, and we have Jupyter Notebook. So if you're very familiar with Jupyter Notebook, so it's a software that you can also use to run code, your Python code. It's also, but it is mostly for data analysis, data visualization. You can either install it manually here or you install it on command prompt by running the Python package index, which is the PIP. So of course, yes. So PIP install, you have it installed in your system. We are way too far in programming for me to take time on this. So read the documentation, watch videos online, and you're good to go. Now, when you've done that, we want to look at the next thing we want to look at as you get started on your journey is how to create what we call virtual environments. So I'm just going to type it here for visual representation, virtual environments. Now, so to create a virtual environment, how we do this is to say env, which is sorry, it's Python. You put Python. Sorry, Python, and then M VENV, which stands for virtual environment, and we give it a name. So oftentimes in the code, you normally see people just put VENV, which is environment. So, but for this, I'll call this class. I will run it. Um, it seems like nothing happened, but if you go to the folder, you can see class here. So this is what happens when a virtual environment is created. And after that, you have to activate the virtual environment. So how do we activate the virtual environment and how do we know it has been activated? So the next thing you do is you call the name of the file, which is class env script slash activate. So what this is doing here is that you are calling this folder. So you're saying in my general folder, which is my name, go to class, go to script, and activate. I think it's one of these two. I'm not sure. So if I click this, you can see that how you know that your virtual environment has been created is that you can see in brackets the name of your virtual environment has been, it's highlighted there. So what do we use virtual environment for? Sometimes you want to put your code in and in what is like an envelope. So that way you can, also track the versions of the code you've put down so far. This is going to be very useful when you get into advanced programming. So more of this will come up later and we'll discuss this in detail. So now you've learned how to create a virtual environment, and the next thing would be to understand, earlier we talked about PIP, install Jupyter. So what we call the PIP is the install package. So there are a lot of packages within the Python family that you need for your project. As you get advanced, you will know, but you will see this keyword more often than not. So now the next thing we're going to do is to talk about the potential libraries, the packages. So we have NumPy, which is for numbers. So I'll type it here. We have NumPy, which is for numerical calculations. Then we have pandas. Which is for sorry. Okay, so we have NumPy, we have pandas, which is for data manipulation. As we go on, you see these in use. We have Matplotlib, which is for data visualization and plotting the request. When you want to make HTTP request, you would have to use request. So this is something that will come up more if you decide to go with programming. Now I have, said everything I want to say about setting up programming. It's time to write your first line of Python code. So if you've gotten to this point, kudos. So we're going to do something. I'm going to just try it here. So if you've gotten to this point, kudos to you. We're now going to write our first line of code. Now, for this exercise, we're going to use idle because it already comes with the folder, with the Python folder. For to do this, we're going to create a new file and we're going to write print. I am a Python professional. So print is a command to give the computer instruction. I need you to do this. And the command we're giving to the computer at this time is to say print. Now, open bracket, close bracket. This is we're putting in confinement what we want the computer to print. Now, without this, if you notice the color is green, if you remove this, the color has changed because, of course, it's something we call syntax. But let's take it one step at a time. Let's put it back. Let's see what happens. So normally I use Control S, but I'm just going to save it manually, which is to save. And we're going to use this as class. Click save. Yes, save. And you see what happened. Okay, so we've saved it and then we click run module And yay! So what we wrote here has been printed to the display to the console. So we have so let's try another line to say print Python fun. This whenever you write a new line of code, you have to save. So I'm going to do Control S automatically, and then I run it, and I am having Python fun. So thank you all. That is the introduction to Python programming, and on this in this session, we have successfully set up the programming environment. If you follow this, I think you've gone from point zero to point 0.045. So in the next video, I'll take you to a new level in the programming field. Bye.